This is the story of a brave little kitten who risked his life to save his mom. A mama cat named Clementine loved spending her days in her favorite garden. One day she decided to venture out into the tall grass, much to the worry of her 5 little kittens. The 5 kittens were just a few weeks old and still very dependent on their mother for food and warmth. When Clementine left the house, they would often cry out for her, missing her soft fur and the sound of her purring. But Clementine had to go out. Not only did she need to hunt for food for herself and her kittens, but she also had to mark her territory so that other cats knew to stay away. It was exhausting work, and she was often gone for hours at a time. One day, however, something happened that none of them could have ever expected. As Clementine stalked through the tall grasses, she spotted a plump little mouse and pounced. The mouse squealed as it felt Clementine's sharp claws digging into its back, and it struggled to free itself from her grasp. But the little cat was relentless, and soon the mouse stopped moving. With her prey secured, Clementine turned to go home, but she quickly realized that she was lost. She had been hunting far from home, and now couldn't remember how to get back. The tall grasses all looked the same, and she did unwant to give up and turn back until she knew for sure that she was lost. She tried to remember which way she had come, but there were no landmarks that she recognized. She called out for her kittens, but of course, they were too small to hear her. And so she continued on, hoping to find her way home before nightfall. Meanwhile, back at the house, the 5 kittens were beginning to get hungry. Their bellies rumbled as they waited for their mom to return with food. One of the kittens, a little gray tabby named Stormy, was the bravest of the bunch. He was unafraid to explore beyond the warm den that his mom had made for them under the house, and he often ventured out to see what he could find. Stormy had been watching the tall grasses outside the den, and when he saw how tall and dark they were getting, he started to get scared. His mom always came back before the sun went down. But where was she this time? He meowed anxiously, but his cries were ignored by his siblings. They were too young to understand why he was so worried. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Stormy knew he had to do something. If their mom didn't come back soon, they wouldn't have anyone to protect them from the dangers of the night. So without even saying goodbye to his siblings, Stormy slipped out of the den and into the tall grasses. He had no idea where their mom might be, but he was determined to find her. He called out for her, his voice small but determined, and then he started to walk. The tall grasses were scary, and he often had to stop and meow for more courage. But he kept going, driven by his love for his mom and his siblings. He didn't want them to be scared or alone, and he knew that his mom wouldn't want him to stay behind either. As he walked, he began to notice small tracks in the grass. At first he thought they were made by mice or maybe even snakes, but then he realized that they were made by paws, just like his. He followed the tracks, his heart pounding with excitement. Could this be a sign that his mom was close? The tracks led him deeper into the tall grasses, and soon he could see a clearing ahead. In the center of the clearing was a bush, with 5 little kittens huddled together, mewing anxiously. As Stormy got closer, he could see that one of the kittens was missing an ear, and he knew that this must be his mom. He mewed as loudly as he could, and Clementine turned her head. She looked at Stormy, and her eyes filled with love and relief. She had been so scared when she realized that she was lost. She had called out for her kittens, but of course they hadn't answered. She had been too far away from home, and she had no idea if they would be okay. But when she saw Stormy, her heart soared. He had come to rescue her. She meowed back, her voice hoarse with emotion, and the other 4 kittens crowded close to her, purring with happiness. Stormy had found her, and now they could all go home. Together, the 6 cats made their way back to the house. Stormy led the way, with Clementine close behind him. The other 4 kittens followed, their small bodies weaving between the tall grasses. As they got closer to home, the kittens' meows grew louder, and soon they were all inside, safe and sound. The 5 kittens snuggled close to Clementine, purring and nuzzling her. She licked them, her heart overflowing with love and gratitude for her brave little kitten. He had saved her life, and she couldn't imagine what she would have done without him. As the days went by, Clementine became even more protective of her kittens. She never went far from home without one of them following close behind. And the other 4 kittens grew bolder, exploring the world with confidence. They knew that no matter what happened, they had each other, and they had their brave little Stormy too, thank for that. One day, while playing in the tall grasses near their home, Stormy and his siblings came across a family of field mice. They watched as the little mice scurried around, playing and chasing each other. And then one of the mice noticed them and squeaked in fear. Stormy's instincts took over, and he pounced, but he didn't actually want to hurt the little mouse. He just wanted to scare it away. The mouse squealed as Stormy approached, and it ran away as fast as it could. Stormy looked at his siblings and meowed proudly. He was a brave little cat, just like his mom. And as the sun set over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Stormy knew that he was lucky to have such a brave and loving mom. She had taught him that no matter how scary the world can be, there is always hope. As long as they had each other, they could face anything together. From that day on, Stormy and his siblings continued to grow, learning about the world and honing their hunting skills. They played in the tall grasses, chased butterflies, and basked in the warm sunshine. And through it all, they knew that they had each other and their brave little Stormy to thank for that. Many years passed, and Stormy and his siblings grew up to be strong, healthy cats. They lived a happy life in their little town, always looking out for each other and helping those in need. And whenever they saw a family of field mice playing in the tall grasses, they couldn't help but smile. They knew that life was full of adventures and that no matter what happened, they would always have each other and their brave little Stormy to thank for that. Once upon a time, deep in the heart of a sprawling city, there lived a ginger cat named Marmalade. Marmalade was no ordinary cat. She had a heart of gold and a thirst for adventure. One day, while exploring the city, she stumbled upon a group of abandoned kittens and without hesitation took them in and raised them as her own. As the kittens grew, they brought endless joy to Marmalade's life, but they also needed a lot of care and attention. Every day, Marmalade would wake up before sunrise and immediately start preparing for her kittens. She would hunt for food, bringing back fish and mice for her little ones to eat. She would groom them, making sure they were clean and healthy, and she would keep them entertained with games and affection. Despite the challenges of raising 5 kittens on her own, Marmalade was happy. She loved being a mother, and her kittens were the best reward for her hard work. They were playful and curious, always eager to explore the world around them. One day, as Marmalade was taking her kittens on an adventure, she noticed a group of mean alley cats eyeing them. These cats were known for their nasty behavior, and Marmalade knew that they could be a threat to her kittens. Without hesitation, she stepped in front of her kittens, ready to defend them. The alley cats sneered at Marmalade, but they knew better than to mess with a mother protecting her young. They scattered, leaving Marmalade and her kittens alone. From that day on, Marmalade was determined to keep her kittens safe from harm. She taught them how to fight, how to hunt, and most importantly, how to be kind and compassionate towards others. As the kittens grew older, they began to understand the importance of family and the strength that came from being together. One day, while Marmalade was out hunting, her kittens decided to venture out into the city on their own. They were excited to explore, but they quickly realized that the city was a dangerous place. Just when they were about to give up hope, a friendly stray cat named Patches came to the rescue. Patches led them to a cozy spot where they could rest and gave them food and water. Then he told them stories of his own adventures in the city, giving them hope that they could make it on their own. When Marmalade returned, she was overjoyed to find her kittens safe and sound. She scolded them for wandering off, but she was also proud of how well they had handled the situation. From that day on, Marmalade knew that her kittens were ready to face whatever challenges came their way. She had taught them the values she held dear, and she believed in their strength and resilience. And so, the story of Marmalade and her 5 adventurous kittens continued, filled with challenges, triumphs, and most importantly, the unbreakable bond of family.